Here are the top stories for today, June 17, 2022. Malacanang assures full-blast efforts to foster economic recovery from the pandemic's impacts, as a recent poll shows more Filipinos believe that their lives improved for the past 12 months. To wear or not to wear, we listen to the public sentiments on the face of the mask mandate, the subject of an apparent row between national government and Cebu officials. 3 more names join the list of cabinet officials of incoming President Bongbong Marcos just days before his inauguration as the Philippines' 17th chief executive. And fighting communist insurgency in the cyberspace, a petition calls for a permanent ban on the websites and internet platforms of the Communist Party of the Philippines. For our top story this evening, Cebu province has only 3 days left to reverse its ordinance on allowing the wearing of face masks to be optional outdoors. This as the Department of Interior and local government imposed the ultimatum opposing their move. The public meanwhile remains divided concerning the matter. Stephanie Sevillano has the details.
It's high time to take the masks off for 26-year-old collection specialist Benjamin Binco, supporting Executive Order Number 16, released by Cebu Governor Gwendolyn Garcia. The EO grants the public to make wearing of face masks outdoors optional. He said this would bring back the normalcy of work in their province.
So far ang Cebu ay maganda naman at maganda naman yung daloy ng ating mga tao, sumusunod pa rin naman sila, pero siguro sa panahon ngayon kinakailangan na talaga na mag-unti-unti na na hindi na pagsuot ng face mask.
But for 49-year-old Hermogenes Hizon, who has decided to work as a buy and sell freelancer for bicycle parts in Marikina City, wearing a face mask has helped him make a living. He's able to take home an average income of 1,000 pesos a day for his 3 children.
Pang personal, para sa akin, mas gugustuhin ko na magkaroon pa rin ng face mask ako. Ito nagiging hanap buhay ko ngayon. Nasanay na rin ako may face mask kasi kung wala akong face mask, hindi ko makukuha itong hanap buhay na to.
Meanwhile, senior citizen and biker Agustin Sehavo Jr. shared mask mandate should be flexible based on the COVID-19 situation. However, he noted that it remains a challenge for them as bikers.
Sa aming biker, mahirap kasi may ganito. Laging nakababa sa amin. Pag hindi ka nagbabike, may face mask. Pero pag nagbabike kami, wala. Binababa rin namin.
Yesterday, the Department of Interior and Local Government has given a 3-day ultimatum to the provincial government to amend its mask ordinance.
Sa ating mga kababayan, hindi pa talaga tapos ang pandemic. Binabantayan pa natin yung mga COVID cases na nakaroon ng konting upstick on the last days. No? So, isa lang naman yung ating Pangulo, isa rin nating gobyerno. Yun lang naman dapat ang matutupad.
It was last Tuesday when the Cebu Provincial Board gave a go signal for the move, which the national government immediately opposed. The DILG insisted that policies from the Interagency Task Force must prevail over local ordinances, considering the slow uptick in COVID-19 cases. In Cebu City alone, COVID-19 cases rose to 53, higher compared to 25 on June. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
The improved lives of more Filipinos show that the Duterte administration's measures against COVID-19 are working. This is the remark of acting presidential spokesperson and communications secretary Martin Andanar as he welcomed the results of its social weather station survey. In its recent poll from April 19 to 27, SWS reveals that 32% of adult Filipinos believe their life got better in the past 12 months. The latest figure was higher than the 24% registered in December 2021. In a statement, Andanar said they view this improvement as an incontrovertible proof that the current government's pandemic response is indeed working and that the country is now heading towards full economic recovery. 3 more names will join the administration of President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The list includes outgoing Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara. Guevara will stay in government this time as Solicitor General, replacing Jose Calida. Marcos Jr. also picked former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile to be his chief legal counsel. The 98-year-old veteran lawmaker has served 50 years in government, holding cabinet posts such as Finance Secretary, Justice Secretary, and Defense Minister. Retired Armed Forces Chief of Staff Jose Faustino Jr. will take the helm of the Defense Department as Senior Undersecretary and Officer in Charge. He will officially take over as Secretary on November 13 after the lapse on the 1-year appointment ban on retired military officials. Faustino retired on November 12 last year. Travel time between Manila and Calamba will be reduced to just 1 hour from 2.5 hours once the south extension of the North-South Commuter Railway project is completed. The nearly 55-kilometer South Commuter Railway will include 18 train stations and a connecting tunnel that will allow the operation of direct trains from Calamba to stations on the future Metro Manila subway system. The infrastructure is also said to be disaster resilient and able to withstand typhoons and earthquakes. More than 35,500 jobs will open during the construction and over 3,200 permanent jobs during operation. President Rodrigo Duterte and representatives of the Asian Development Bank, or ADB, signed the loan agreement in Malacanang, which is considered as the largest infrastructure financing in the Asia and the Pacific region to date. President Rodrigo Duterte formally conferred on Thursday the Order of National Artist to 8 distinguished personalities in Philippine culture and arts at the Malacanang Palace. Veteran actress Nora Honor, the late film director Marilu Diaz-Abaya, and screenwriter Ricardo Lee were conferred the Award for National Artist for Film and Broadcast Arts. Honor was represented by her children, actor Ian De Leon and actress Matet De Leon, while singer Mark Abaya received the award for his deceased mother. The late actor and stage director Tony Mabesa was named National Artist for Theater. Other awardees are choreographer Agnes Locsin as National Artist for Dance, opera singer Fides Cuyugan Asensio as National Artist for Music, the late fashion designer Salvacion Lim Higgins as National Artist for Design, and literary critic Hemino Abad as National Artist for Literature. Each national artist will receive a gold-plated medallion minted by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, a citation, benefits, a pension, and a cash award, among others. To date, the country has a total of 86 national artists all in all. A fire broke out at the Metropolitan Theater in Arroceros, Manila on Friday morning. The Manila Fire Department said the fire started at shortly before 9 a.m. and was declared fire out in 41 minutes later. No damage or casualties were reported except for some old and rotten equipment that was removed from various parts of the theater. In a separate statement, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts said the fire started in a room on the first floor of Padre Burgos Wing that is actually being renovated under Phase 3 of the project. The NCAA also thanked those who took their concern to social media, saying this encourages them to fully restore and bring back the grandeur of the historic theater. Authorities have yet to determine the cause of the fire. Still ahead, India vows closer cooperation with the ASEAN as the South Asian nation marks 10 years of strategic partnership with a 10-nation bloc. And loans released by the Government Service Insurance System, or GSIS, to pensioners and members reached 221 billion pesos since January last year. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom. The Indian government renewed its support for a strong, unified, and prosperous association of Southeast Asian nations, or ASEAN. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said a better connected India and ASEAN would be well positioned to promote decentralized globalization and resilient and reliable supply chains needed by the international community. He also told ASEAN officials that there's much ground yet to be covered amid efforts towards post-pandemic recovery. Given the geopolitical challenges and uncertainties, Jaishankar said ASEAN's role today is perhaps more important than ever before. No social media practitioner has applied for accreditation to cover palace events. PCOO Undersecretary and Acting Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Chris Ablan said accreditation remains open, but this time Press Secretary-designate Trixie Cruz Angeles and her team will be in charge. Cruz Angeles earlier said giving social media personalities access to palace coverage is one of the administration's priorities to raise public awareness of the policies and programs of the incoming Marcos administration. This as the incoming president intends to use social media platforms to keep the public posted. Since the PCOO already has existing accounts on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Ablan said the office might just create a TikTok account for the Marcos administration. He also advised Marcos's communications team to learn to adapt to the situation as well as to the new technology to make sure that public will be well informed of the upcoming administration's policies and programs. Ablan, who will be staying with the rank of Career Executive Service Officer, guaranteed that the PCOO would continue to fulfill its mandate as the lead communications arm of the incoming administration. PCOO Undersecretary and Acting Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Chris Ablan emphasized the importance of digitizing government record systems. This as the Philippine Information Agency, or PIA, was flagged by the Commission on Audit over discrepancies in the values of its property, plant and equipment worth around 206 million pesos. Ablan said the PIA had trouble reconciling the list as gadgets like mobile phones, recorders, and laptops are being used by field personnel or employees who are working outside the office. Aside from unaccounted gadgets, COA also hit the agency for unliquidated cash advances of its regional offices worth over 12 million pesos. Ablan assured that the PIA is already rectifying the discrepancy through the recommendation of the COA. He also emphasized the importance of digitizing government record systems to prevent problems like this from happening in the future. Providing protection and relief to public servants has been one of the major goals of the government, one of which is offering loans through the Government Service Insurance System, or GSIS. In its recent report, the GSIS said a total of 221 billion pesos in loans have been released to over 1 million active members and pensioners from January 2021 to May 15, 2022. Among their offerings are multi-purpose loans, computer loans, GSIS Financial Assistance Loan, or GFAL, the regular policy loan, and emergency loan. Even inactive members were allowed to restructure their loans under the Program for Restructuring and Repayment of Debts, or PRRD. For inquiries, you may visit their Facebook page and website. More stories from the newsroom. An online petition is filed seeking a permanent ban on websites of the communist movement. And the Aklan province takes over the rehabilitation of the world-renowned Boracay Island. Details ahead. Stay with the PNA Newsroom. Heads up motorists, you might want to avoid EDSA this Friday. 2 lanes of the EDSA Timog flyover southbound lane in Quezon City have been temporarily closed to traffic. These lanes will undergo repair work such as replacement of its deck slab for a week starting today. The Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, says this comes after inspectors from the Public Works Department found potholes and cracks on its portion last night. The sole open lane is allotted for public utility buses only. Motorists can ply alternate routes to avoid being stuck in traffic. The long arm of the law caught up with a former councilor of Surigao del Norte's island town of Socorro as he was arrested in a 340,000 peso drug sting on Wednesday. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, in the Caraga region said the suspect, Roland Diago Mascardo, yielded 50 grams of shabu contained in 11 heat-sealed transparent sachets. Mascardo is reported to be a high-value target. He will be charged with violation of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. And in a separate statement, Surigao del Norte Police Director Colonel Renato Mercado vowed they will continue to intensify the campaign against illegal drugs. Meanwhile, an online petition posted on the internet is calling for the takedown and permanent ban of websites and internet platforms created by communist terrorist groups. The petition was filed on Wednesday via the online platform change.org. The petition targets the removal of the Philippine Revolution Web Central, the website of the National Democratic Front of the Philippines, and other websites that provide news and information, including statements from the Communist Party of the Philippines and its allies. He said the petition urges authorities to stop communist terrorist groups from exploiting the internet to promote, sponsor, and advance the agenda of terrorism. As of posting, the online petition has gathered 341 signatures. CELI said they are targeting to gather at least 5,000 signatures online as part of their benchmark. The local government of Aklan and the municipality of Malay is taking over the rehabilitation of Boracay Island. Acting Environment Secretary Jim Sampulna, chair of the Boracay Interagency Task Force, led the turnover to Aklan Governor Florencio Miraflores and Malay Mayor Frolibar Bautista in a culminating activity in Boracay. Sampulna said the challenge now is for the local government to maintain cleanliness and sanitation, including the discipline of the people. For his part, Bautista said the people of Malay will be truly faithful to the programs left behind by the task force. And in Zamboanga City, the local government is holding a kite festival for the first time in 2 years to help revive the city's tourism industry. A kite flying competition will be held at 3 p.m. on Sunday at the scenic Paseo del Mar. The annual kite festival was suspended in 2020 following the COVID-19 pandemic. And in sports, the city of Bago Negros Occidental honored newly crowned World Boxing Association Asia South Bantamweight champion Arthur Villanueva on Thursday. Villanueva also received a 50,000 peso incentive from Mayor Nicolas Yulo in rights held at the mayor's office. Yulo also gave Villanueva a copy of the City Council Resolution 22-147, congratulating him for the honor and recognition he has brought to Bago. Villanueva was joined by his wife, Ginny May, during the rites and was also treated to a motorcade around the city. The native of Barangay Don, Jorge El Araneta, won the WBA Asia South Bantamweight title on June 11 in Pakistan after defeating Thailand's Jakpan Sangtong in the 9th round. He is among the boxing champions who have brought honors to Bago City recently after 31st Southeast Asian Games medalist Rogen Ladon and James Palicte. Outgoing Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio will take her oath as the 15th Vice President of the Philippines on Sunday. Taking after her father, President Rodrigo Duterte, the local chief executive brings with her an outstanding background in public service as she embarks on this new journey. Stephanie Sevillano has more.
Despite being usually tagged as the presidential daughter, the outspoken Vice President-elect Sara Zimmerman Duterte Carpio is not considered a novice in politics. The younger Duterte has proven to secure significant raises in her services in Davao City. This is where she was born and raised on May 31, 1978. With her dreams targeting for medical field, she earned a bachelor's degree of science in respiratory therapy in San Pedro College way back in 1999. She then pursued a degree in law at San Sebastian College, Recoletos last 2005 and passed the bar a year later. Far from the expected career path, the young Duterte entered politics following her practice of law for fighting for women's rights. Amid criticism concerning political dynasty, Sara made a successful land for vice mayoralty position in 2007 with her father at her late 20s. Upon assumption, social services were prioritized in the city. With a hate and love relationship she has with her father, President Rodrigo Duterte has earlier said she's a leader with a mind of her own. Sara became the top performing mayor nationwide with an approval rating of 93% in a survey conducted by the RP Mission and Development Foundation Incorporated in 2021. And long before the 2022 pulse, she has been ranking first in the presidential surveys. But with her official assumption for vice presidential and education chief posts, Sara sets the record straight. For education, she assured discipline and love for the country will be taught to Filipino youth. They also plan to establish a national education portal to aid learners. Giving premium to science, engineering, technology, and math is also included. Besides this, Sara believes in the continuity of her father's legacy against illegal drugs, criminality, terrorism, and insurgency. Meanwhile, the second highest official also ensured they are ready for the post-pandemic programs, which will include research and healthcare system reorganization. Pandemic response has been one of the key areas highlighted by her predecessor, Vice President Leni Robredo. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Stephanie Sevillano.
And before we go, we take this opportunity to thank every son's first hero and every daughter's first love, our fathers. And as the special day of the greatest man in our lives is approaching, we listen to the heartwarming greetings of our kababayans for their fathers.
Mga tulog ng tatay, mahalin natin at sakasuhin natin mabuti ang ating asawa at mga anak. Yun dapat maging priority natin.
Gusto ko lang mag-thank you kay Papa kasi kahit mahirap, kinakaya niya. Alam naman natin yung pag-construction or mason, di ba? Mainit, nabubuhat na mabibigat. Pero siya parang deadline sa kanya basta mabigyan niya yung pangangailangan namin. Pag-aral kami sa magandang school, mapagtapos kami and makakain kami ng higit pa sa 3 beses sa isang araw.
Driver si Papa, so madaming aksidente ngayon sa daan. So yun po, sana mag-ingat siya.
So if may ireregalo kang something special sa Papa mo sa Father's Day, ano kaya yun at bakit?
Siguro po, diploma ko po kasi graduating po ako ngayon sa senior high school. So yun na lang po yung gift ko sa kanya para po sa 2 years na pagtatrabaho niya sa amin. Yun lang.
To our Papa, Daddy, Tatay, Popsi, Abuji, no words are enough to express how thankful we are for your love and support to us. Happy Father's Day from all of us here at the Philippine News Agency. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Malacanang assures full-blast efforts to foster economic recovery from the pandemic's impacts, as a recent poll shows more Filipinos believe that their lives improved for the past 12 months. To wear or not to wear, we listen to the public sentiments on the face of the mask mandate, the subject of an apparent row between national government and Cebu officials. 3 more names join the list of cabinet officials of incoming President Bongbong Marcos just days before his inauguration as the Philippines' 17th chief executive. And fighting communist insurgency in the cyberspace, a petition calls for a permanent ban on the websites and internet platforms of the Communist Party of the Philippines. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on PTV4. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day and happy weekend, everyone.